Okay, good. Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening. We're going to get started. We know a few are still checking in, but we want to be mindful of our schedule. For those of you that got here on time or before, we know we want to stay to the schedule that you have this evening. So we're going to be here for about an hour from 6 to 7. And I am Peter Zanoni, the city manager for the city of Corpus Christi, and welcome to tonight's District 1 Budget Town Hall meeting. This is the first of 5. We're going to be in all 5 city council districts over the next 2 weeks. We have the extreme privilege and honor to be here as our first one, and with your representative, Councilman Lerma, who has devoted the past almost 2 years to District 1 in terms of getting more things in District 1 in the Calallen, Toloso, Midway area. His district, though, runs the corridor where the industry is. Then it goes to North Beach. We have several North Beach representatives here tonight, and even downtown Corpus Christi, and a little bit on the near west side by the airport as well. So of all my council members, Councilman Lerma has the most diverse district, but he's real good at making sure he's focused on all aspects of District 1. He doesn't just focus on downtown or the industrial corridor, rather everywhere, even though he lives up in the Calallen area off of Leopard Street. So joining him tonight, just showing up, Councilman Pusley, Councilman at Large. Right, yes, sir. Councilman Pusley, former county commissioner, resident in the Calallen area, and a longtime person of Corpus Christi, goes back several decades. So, or lineages, I don't know, your great grandpa, right? I'm officially an old guy. Right. So, before we begin, let me just tell you the agenda, and then we're going to have Councilman Lerma say a few words, and then I'll come back up. So, tonight, really, it's to hear from you. We do have some material we're going to show you and talk to you, but the goal is for us to talk as little as we can because we want to hear from you about what you think of either the city or the budget or the bond program. So tonight's goal is to talk about the budget, and we proposed it to City Council a few weeks ago. There's about 5 weeks of input from the community and the council. We're doing work sessions with the council as well. But we want to hear what you think about the budget because between the proposed budget and the adopted budget, we make changes. And in the past 3 years that I've been here, each of those 3 budgets, what the community has said in these types of meetings matters. And in fact, we've amended the budget every time because of what you all say. So we want to hear from you tonight, so we're going to try to give as much time as we can to you. So what we're going to do is Councilman Lerma is going to say a few words. I'm going to come up and say a few more general words about the budget. Then we're going to see a video on the city's budget. And then because we have a bond program as well, that'll be on the ballot for this November, we want to educate you on that as well. This is some new information, seeing for the first time. Council will place an item on the ballot officially at their next council meeting. But we thought it'd be good, since you're here, to talk to you about the bond program as well, $125 million bond program for more streets, more public safety, more parks and libraries with no property tax rate increase, okay? After those 2 things, then we're going to listen to you. We have a sign-in sheet, I believe, right? I think we have a sign-in sheet. One of the things to remember is that we have budget staff that are here from our budget office, and they're writing down everything you say. So as we go through all 5 districts, we'll tabulate all those comments from the community, and we're going to share that to council in a written format. It'll be in a little booklet. And then where we see consensus about how do we want the budget changed, that's where we'll make recommendations to council on what the community is saying, on how we change a little bit that budget from proposed to adopted. So without any further ado, let me turn the microphone over to Councilman Lerma. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Peter. Good evening, everyone. Like Peter said, my name is Billy Latimer. I'm your City Council District 1 representative. I want to thank Peter and definitely his staff that's here today. They're here to answer any questions that you guys have for them. Feel free to ask any questions about the bond, the budget, whatever items are out there, I want to tell you that this council has worked very, very hard, and we've listened to basically everything that the citizens have been wanting in this city. You've talked to us about streets, infrastructure, streets, I think in the last 3 years, we spent something like close to 380 million, more or less, Peter, on street. And we're talking about residential streets and collector streets, but we've concentrated a lot on residential streets, and we will continue to concentrate on residential streets. We have 3 crews that are out there that do our residential streets, am I correct? And from what I understand, we're looking at hopefully hiring 2 more crews in the near future to hopefully each district can have one crew to work there the entire year. That way they get to know the streets, what's out there in each of the districts. You know, this budget is $1.4 billion that we approve, okay? And we have a bond of $125 million coming up in 2023, you know, for an election that you guys get to vote on. Out of that $125 million, $92 million is on streets. That's a big plus for the citizens of District 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5. I want to thank my at-large companion here, Mike Pusley, because, you know, Mike and I work on a lot of things together. It's the first time in the history of this city that we've had an at-large council member be elected from District 1. And it makes me feel darn good that he's got two strong voices. District 1 has two strong voices. And let me tell you, Peter, I'm on this side of Peter, and Mike's on the other side of Peter, grabbing each of the ears, you know, and talking to him about it. And the good thing about it is that staff and the city manager are listening. There's a lot of needs in District 1. You know, like Peter was saying, District 1 is huge as far as land mass, not population-wise, but land mass. We're very diverse, from industry to downtown to North Beach, the tourist area, out here to the Annabelle Calallen area, you know, all the way to Highway 44. It's a big area. It's really tough sometimes to handle it all, but you know what? I get to share it with Mike, so when I can't cover something, Mike covers the other part of it for me, and then we get together and we talk about things. You know, I think the city manager and his staff has done a tremendous job for our district, and we will continue to push for good things in District 1. It's been a long time overdue for District 1. We've never really had a strong voice. Now we have two very strong, powerful voices that are representing your district. And I'm proud and very humble that you guys elected me to be one of your voices. At this time, I want to turn it back over to, let's see, I have another at-large councilman coming up, Councilman John Martinez. Come on up, John. You know, he's another one that definitely supports District 1 on a lot of projects. I'm happy to have him, you know, helping us move our city and our district forward. At this time, I'll hand it right back to City Manager Peter Zanoni.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Councilman Pusley did want to say a few comments. Councilman Pusley, he said it'd be brief, but yes, sir.
Very brief. Thank you very much. As many of you know, I served as your county commissioner in this area for 9 years, and the county commissioner precinct that I represented almost exactly overlays District 1. So I'm very familiar with a lot of the issues that we need to address in this area. And Councilman Lerma is right. He and I have been working very closely to address those concerns. So we heard your comments when we were running for election. And those comments were fix the streets, fix the streets, fix the streets. So we're doing that. And a major part of our budget and this bond election that you'll get to vote on has to do with exactly that, fixing streets. So we're very proud to do that. It's way overdue, but we're also taking care of a lot of other things like the water line infrastructures, the sanitary sewer infrastructure. All of those things are important. Many of them are very old and needed to be replaced and upgraded, and so we're doing that and working that into the budget as well. But we have a great council, and we all work very closely together, and I think for the first time in a long time, we're doing a lot of great things to move this city forward. So thank you all for being here, and we look forward to answering your questions.
Right. Yes, sir. Thank you, Councilman. Great. So what I'm going to do now is just give you a quick overview of the budget. Councilman, both of them said actually that streets is priority number one. Do you all still agree with that? I know it was 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, we still have streets.
Okay, so we're working on, so in this budget, 136 million, you'll see in the video, has been budgeted for streets. That brings a 3-year total to 336 million that this city council has budgeted to streets. Now, we can go back about a decade ago, and guess what the number was? Pretty close to zero, because we stopped doing streets. That's why we're at today. But we didn't stop there. Public safety is very important for us. This budget has 25 additional police officer positions. Chief Markle's here with us tonight. Chief, we want to thank you for what you do and for what your team does for us in our community. Yes, sir. Public safety is not only police, but fire as well. 24 additional firefighter positions in this budget. 8 of those, 8 is, where's Chief Rocha? 8, yeah, 8, right? 8 or 6? 8 are for the fire ambulance. 8, okay. 8 coming right to Cal Allen, a brand-new, fully staffed EMS unit at Station 12. You guys know what Station 12 is? Yes, okay. So a brand-new fire EMS unit here, plus additional firefighters for what we call 4-person staffing. So anytime a fire truck goes out, there's 4 firefighters on there. That's national best practice for fire safety and better response. Do we care about parks here in this area? I know we do. Yeah, I know we do. Listen to Councilman Lerma. So over $2 million in investment in the budget for park amenities across the entire city. I'm proud to say Councilman Lerma and Pusley both have pushed for what we're calling the expansion of Labonte Park. So if you're driving heading south, to the south part of the current park is that old city water treatment plant that's been closed since the 80s. That is going to be soon ground broken for demolition, and we're going to make that part of Labonte Park, doubling the size of the park. In this district, that'll be the biggest park in the city. Yes, sir, 80 acres of parkland. We saw a beautiful master plan that's almost done, and that's coming here to this district. Also in this district, we have the city's only water treatment plant, the Owen Stevens treatment plant, not too far from here, as well as one wastewater treatment plant. Both of those are part of a citywide massive investment in getting our systems back up in good shape. And so a huge investment still coming in this budget to Owen Stevens water treatment plant, as well as to all of our 6 wastewater treatment plants, to include the one that's right here in your district on the Allison treatment plant. So those are some of the highlights in the budget. We're going to show you more in this video now, and then I'll come back up and talk to you about the bond program, and we're going to show you a second video on the bond program, okay?
The City of Corpus Christi proposed a record-setting budget for the fiscal year 2023. This year's $1.4 billion budget will be the city's largest proposed budget to date, focusing on public safety, streets, parks, neighborhoods, and water and wastewater. The proposed budget reflects Corpus Christi's economic growth and continues significant improvements that will keep our community moving forward. Public safety, including law enforcement and the fire department, are at the top of the agenda. The proposed budget addresses Mayor Paulette Guajardo's July 2022 challenge to add 25 additional police officer positions in fiscal year 2023. The budget has similar investments in our fire department by adding 24 more firefighter positions. These additional positions will be the largest amount of public safety officers added in one fiscal year. The budget for the police department includes Bond 2020 funds to build a new training academy at the Del Mar South campus and provide new equipment and vehicles to accommodate the growing department. For the Corpus Christi Fire Department, the budget will provide new equipment and 1 additional medic unit and construction of a replacement for Fire Station Number 3 on Morgan Avenue. This proposed budget will have the highest amount ever to invest in rebuilding our streets. $136.4 million is projected to go towards roads this year, totaling $336 million spent on rebuilding our streets in the last 3 years. $46.4 million will go to street maintenance, $66 million towards arterials and collectors, and $24 million for residential street reconstruction. These funds also will enhance our Vision Zero program by spending $2.5 million on 5 pedestrian and safety projects to keep our streets safe for both drivers and pedestrians. The main projects include traffic improvements for Castoris and Masterson in support of the new Carroll High School, a traffic signal battery backup system, and a high-intensity activated crosswalk signal at Staples and Berry. A 10-year sustainability program is also included in the capital improvements project for Ocean Drive and Shoreline Boulevard from Interstate Highway 37 to Ennis-Jocelyn. This will maintain Ocean Drive through the year 2032 to properly support the city's most iconic street. Infrastructure improvements will also be coming to the downtown area. Water Street will receive $8 million for utility line replacements, with $6.4 million allocated to replace cast iron water pipes and $1.6 million to replace wastewater pipes. To provide efficient street lighting citywide, The Light Up CC initiative will spend $2.1 million to convert over 15,000 streetlights to LED lights. This will create $672,000 per year in energy savings. A significant project to improve roadways will be in Industrial Park in District 5. $4.3 million will reconstruct roadways to help accommodate numerous small local businesses. The city also is proposing new gateway signage for 2 locations entering Corpus Christi and 1 monument sign at Lamani Park. The entry signs will be at Interstate Highway 37 and US 181. This will offer residents and tourists a great first impression when entering our city. Adding amenities to our city parks and beaches is a top priority on this year's proposed budget. $19.7 million will provide park amenities, improvements, and maintenance for parks in all 5 council districts. The main projects include a shade structure for Cole Park Plaza, a new dog park in Flower Bluff, and lighting improvements for Swantner Park. Our beaches will expand on Gulf Beach cleaning and provide more lifeguards, vehicles, and equipment to keep our beaches clean and safe. A new restroom facility will be built on Zahn Road. This facility will provide restrooms, showers, and a new parking lot. Rebuilding North Beach is important to our city's growth. A new design for North Beach Eco Park is proposed in the city's Bond 2022 program. The North Beach initiatives include 4 lifeguards and vehicles for the summer season, a merchant and vendor pilot program, a shade structure at the new History Plaza, and funding towards the restroom, playground, and parking lot improvement project funded from Bond 2020 funds. Water and wastewater will also remain a high priority on this year's budget proposal. $148 million will be invested over the next 3 years to replace and repair water lines citywide. The O.N. Stevens Water Treatment Plant will receive $195 million over the next 3 years, with $55 million in fiscal year 2023 for improvements. All 6 wastewater treatment plants will receive $157 million over the next 3 years for improvements, and lift stations will receive $66 million over the next 3 years. This budget will create the most robust stormwater system in the city's history. In 2022, the city joined other major Texas cities and approved a stormwater maintenance program. The overall goal is to reduce flooding and improve water quality of our bays and creeks. City rates for residential customers will not increase for city property tax rates, water, wastewater, and gas. The proposed rate adjustments will be for a stormwater monthly rate adjustment of $1.57 for a typical residential customer and solid waste services adjustment of $1.15 per month for residential customers. The fiscal year 2023 proposed budget totals $1.4 billion and is scheduled to be adopted by the Mayor and City Council on September 6, 2022, and would take effect on October 1, 2022. For a full list of all fiscal year 2023 proposed budget items, visit cctexas.com/budget2023.
Okay, great. What do y'all think? Yeah, right? Yeah. This would be my the 3rd budget that I presented to City Council. Is it the 4th or the 3rd? What is Eddie? The 4th, I thought it was. It's been a long day. So this is actually the 4th budget. And hey, Mayor. Hi, good afternoon. Yeah, right. Yeah, let's welcome Mayor Guajardo to the meeting. Yeah. So this is the 4th, but I must say, every time I see this video, I'm prouder than the prior 3. This is a great budget that you can see some tremendous investment in District 1, both in our assets like our parks, our roads, but in some of the major systems that we have here, the O.N. Stevens Water Plant, our wastewater treatment plants, and so on. So great budget, great presentation. This is on our website, so if you all want to watch it, share it with your family and friends. The link is on our website. If you go to cctexas.com, there's a link to the budget, and then the video will be there as well. We're going to next talk to you about the bond program, and then we're going to hear from you. But before we turn it over to the bond program, Gabby, we do have a Spanish translator. And Gabby, can you say that in Spanish, since I don't unfortunately speak Spanish? Just to let people know that we have the translation services and you'll help them if they need it.
Okay. Para cualquier persona que no hable inglés o su inglés sea limitado, simplemente levante la mano y yo le puedo hacer la pregunta en español y le contestamos en español y en inglés.
Great, thank you, Gabby. Okay, so next, the bond program. So Councilman Lerma mentioned it, but every 2 years, the city recommends a bond program to the community. This is something the voters have to consider at the ballot. And what we can say is going into this one, we have high confidence because in the 2020 bond program, the community voted it with one of the highest approval ratings, the bond program. It was in the 70%. Usually it's in the low 50s, a little bit above 50, but tremendous support. What that tells us is the community has strong confidence in the mayor and council and in the city staff as we deliver what they ask us to do. Also, in the 2020 bond program, by this November, every one of those projects will be in design. They've all been in design for many, many months. And by November, more than half will be in construction, or a construction contract will have been approved. So going into the new bond program, we have a great story to say, not only do we need these investments, but we know how to deliver them. We're doing it right now in the 2020 bond program. Okay, so as Councilman Lerma said, most of the money in this bond program, almost 75% is for streets, 92 million. 20 million is allocated for parks. We have our new parks director in the back here, Robert Dodd. 10 million for public safety, and then 2.5 million for libraries, specifically for the Lauritama Library downtown. Let me tell you what's in District 1, though. Starlight, from Violet to Leopard, an $8 million road project. Anybody familiar? I see some heads shaking, saying we really got to do that road. In our North Beach area, Surfside, Breakwater to Elm, 1.6 million. Over there on North Beach, and then near to downtown, the upper, middle, and lower Broadway by the cathedral and those other churches. That's one of our most prominent roads, but I would say it's probably one of the worst downtown. 2.6 million to begin to assess how do we address that road, as well as that beautiful historic white retaining wall that's there. So that's great. Labonte Park, we talked about this. This is going to be the biggest park in the city, right here in District 1. In the bond program, we're recommending 1.5 million on top of monies that we already have to make that expansion happen. North Beach Echo Park, 100,000, and Calallen Police Substation. So something we talked about today with the City Council is having police substations in our community. It's pretty common in big cities in Texas, and we know we're a big city. So in the bond program, $1 million for land acquisition and design for a police substation right in the Calallen area. And Councilman Pusley and Lerma both have talked to me about some ideas where they think an appropriate location would be. And then Lauritama Library, which is also in District 1 downtown, 2.5 million to do a nice remodel on the exterior. When you drive by there, you're not really knowing right away that it's our biggest library downtown or that it's even a library. So with that overview and highlighting District 1, what we're going to do now is show you this video that will be available on our website as well.
The Bond 2022 program proposes 32 projects allocating $125 million towards streets, parks, public safety, and libraries. This bond program will be broken down into 4 propositions for voters to pass in the November 8th election. The bond benefits all council districts equally, with each district receiving around 13% of the total funds and about 34% of those funds distributed citywide. All these projects can be accomplished without raising the city property tax rates. Proposition A proposes $92.5 million towards our streets. These projects will reconstruct and rehabilitate 15 different streets citywide. Planned improvements include new asphalt or concrete roadways, upgrades to the city infrastructure, and enhancements to resident safety with the addition of new sidewalks, ADA-compliant curbs, and increased lighting. Proposition B proposes $20 million towards our community parks. With over 11 projects under the proposition, the funds will provide more amenities such as playgrounds, pools, hike and bike trails, and fitness features across the city's community parks. Major projects include new baseball and softball fields located at the Greenwood Sports Complex, the expansion of Labonte Park, and a new competition-sized pool at Bill Witt Park. Proposition C proposes $10 million to enhance public safety. These projects will include 2 new replacement fire stations and 2 police substations to accommodate our growing population. Proposition D proposes $2.5 million to upgrade the Lauritama Central Library. This project will be a complete exterior renovation to the library, including new storefront sliding doors, windows, ADA improvements, a new back deck and seating area, and new landscaping and irrigation. Currently, all 42 Bond 2020 projects are in the design phase, in construction, or have been awarded a contract. For more detailed information on the Bond 2022 program, visit cctexas.com/bond2022.
Great. More progress, right, folks? Yes. Mayor, did you want to, we're going to get into the citizen comment now. Did you want to say a quick hello? I hate to put you on the spot, but since you are the mayor.
No, just, I want to thank everyone. I was just commenting to the councilman that it's very important that we have as many, or that at least everyone feel welcomed and know that we truly want as many people to be a part of the process as possible, because it's very important to us to hear what you have to say and what your thoughts are on, moving forward a $1.4 billion budget as it pertains to your specific area. So thank you all for being here. And also know that after today does not mean that it's the end all. As many of you know, you can text, you can email us, you can call us, you can reach out to Peter's office or any of us here. But know that the point is that you do have a voice here in the process, and it's a huge deal. A $1.4 billion budget is not small peanuts. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, Cam, is that where are we going to put the microphone for? Okay, good. So we have somebody to pass around the microphone based on the list of persons signed. Who has the list for persons signed in? Christine? Do we have a list? Okay, well, while we're looking for the list, let me just update you on two other things. One, both videos that you saw tonight, sometimes along our way we get criticized for spending too much on them, using outside groups to produce them. All those videos are done in-house with our existing city staff, yep. So we want to thank them. That's top-notch production, and sometimes people come up and say, who's that firm? We want to hire them, but it's all done in-house to save taxpayer money, but we got some great staff in our communications department, so we want to thank them. And then finally, we didn't mention it much here in the videos, but we know kind of the elephant in the room is our water situation. We know we're in an extreme drought, and it looks like the drought is worsening. We can't control the drought, we can't control the weather, but we can control how we respond to it and how we plan for alternate water sources. And so the mayor and council, I'm speaking for them, but they are diligently working on alternative water sources. We know we have 4. We have 2 in the west, 2 in the east, but that's not enough anymore for this growing city. So we're looking at still our seawater desalination, and we're closer than ever. And we're looking at alternative sources as well. Groundwater not too far from here, reuse of our effluent, looking at underground storage. When we do have excess water, we can store it and then pump it out later. So really for us at City Hall, the water situation is priority number 1. Tomorrow we're going to do another briefing to the City Council on where we are with water levels, what the reservoirs are looking like, and what the response is to the community. But we know that this is a community effort. Everybody has to do their part, and every drop matters. So we all have to own it, and we all have to respond. And that's not just us here in the room, but it's industry, it's commercial accounts, and it's residential accounts. We can't get out by one entity alone. So we're working pretty hard on this. It's a 7-day-a-week, almost a 24-hour run at it. But the alternative water sources is something that the City Council has placed as priority number 1. So, okay, so with that, do we have a sign-in list? Just anybody? Okay, just raise your hand then, and then our person here, our communication staff person, will walk around with the microphone. This gentleman in the front did want me to bring up homeless shelters, right? The need for more in District 1. Yes, sir.
Cal Allen area. I've been here over 18 years. Like I said, my name is Lee Smith, and I am actually suffering homelessness right now. So there are no shelters here, and I was wondering if there's any way that we can push that into effect, building a homeless shelter, because I am not the only homeless person here, and that is a big deal here in Corpus Christi. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but that goes as far as downtown area as well. And not only that, but the B-Bus, you built a facility there at the B-Bus and we're not allowed to use it. I mean, come on, guys. Seriously? Why? Because we're homeless? Because we sleep on the street? Because we're not allowed to take showers? Because, you know, we go to Mother Teresa's to take our showers and we get our food. And honestly, I'm recording right now, so basically, just for my view later, I guess. And I just want to say that also with being homeless, we're also targeted by police officers here in Annandale area, and we're automatically assumed or treated ugly because of our homelessness or because of our situation. And it doesn't help the fact that you have officers following individuals around, which makes a person feel that they're targeted, And I just want to address that, so.
Okay, yes, sir, thank you. We appreciate you giving us those comments, right?
Thank you.
We, just so you know, we do have Linda is here, our Director of our Neighborhood Housing Services that also oversees, she's new to our organization, but she'll talk with you, she said. We do have, in the last 3 years, added staff people to City Hall to address homelessness. When I first got here a little over 3 years ago, I asked my staff after riding up to City Hall for several days, who's in charge of homelessness here in our leadership team? And the answer was nobody. And I'm like, well, no wonder we haven't addressed the issue. So we have 3 dedicated staff members in a new department focused on housing, neighborhoods, and homelessness. And so we'll give you more information, sir, but we appreciate you being here and appreciate those comments. Did we have some more? Anybody other? There we go.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rebecca Farias. I'm a local business owner and college student, local. I just wanted to make a suggestion on the budget to add barriered bike paths or even green bike paths, because there's been a lot of issues with people being hurt. I do a lot of picnics at Cole Park, and I've seen people almost get ran over, and it can be really scary on a bike. And I've heard that the green bike paths are not necessarily a very expensive addition. They're just green paint, but it makes it much more easy for drivers to be aware of the bicyclists. So yes, that's my comment. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much for that comment. We do have our interim director of Public Works here, and we've been hearing those comments at council as well, so we'll look into it. Who's got the microphone? You'll go to you next, ma'am.
Thank you. My name is Judy Dreyer. My address is 11.
A bit closer to you. Yes, just get it a bit closer.
Judy Dreyer. My address is 11118 Forest Hill Lane. I'm sort of unique here. I'm a retired city employee that started in the budget office. And I'm here because retired city employees have not had a cost of living raise in 2 years. And I'd like to encourage the council and the city staff to make sure there are funds this year for us.
Right, okay, thank you. We'll look into that. Come on back to the budget office when you have time, too. We need that's a tough job, we know. Yeah.
My name is Kathy Rokel. I am employed by Cal Island ISD for 39 years. Our streets are bad. I live on Leonard between Sunny and Mulholland, and it's sinking in the middle, and I've got potholes that are so bad. And every month I'm calling for potholes to be repaired. And we have buses that go down there. They have to drive in the middle of the street because it's not very wide on Leonard. And when we have buses that come from Eastwood onto Leonard, we can't see because the brush is so far out there that the buses can't see, and we start running at 6 a.m.
Okay, well, Gabriel's taking notes on that. We can get both addressed for you, especially, yeah, both.
And I have a whole list of streets that are so bad, and I'm on special needs. I have kids in wheelchairs. I have kids in car seats. And my first concern are my kids. And so when we have to go through Cynthia, Sharpsburg, Zamora, all of those streets in there are so bad. And I'm concerned about our kids in wheelchairs.
Okay, thank you for those comments. We do know we won't dig ourselves necessarily out of this in 1 year
I
overnight.
understand that.
But
Yeah.
one thing we do have that this city council has approved for the first time ever is a 5-year plan. So we have a 5-year plan that's transparent. It's on our website. It shows all the streets that need work. So at least we can tell when are we going to be able to get to those streets.
Yeah, when I called, they said 2026.
Yeah.
But, we don't want curbs, gutters, and sidewalks. We
Right.
just want a decent road that I'm not having to realign my vehicle.
We understand. We'll take care of that one at the school because that is the council's top priority is safe routes to school. So
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for what you do at the school district as well.
Thank you. It's so nice to see so many people here and have so many people have an input in our local government. I wrote some notes before I came because I commend a lot of things, and I think we need to see a half glass full. First off, the information is so available on the city website. So everybody go there and keep looking at it, and I know these will be posted. And while I do commend the proposed funding increases in the bond for public libraries, we still must continue to do more for our libraries. For instance, 50 of the 110 computers in the libraries are being replaced, and that's a big deal, thank you, are being replaced, but only one generator for La Retama is included in the budget. I didn't realize until this year that the libraries, none of them have generators. So it's good that we're going to get a generator for one, but why not get generators for all the libraries? Community members heavily depended on our libraries after Hurricane Harvey, and the computers were a real lifeline. The community also depends on the libraries for cooling and heating centers and will continue to do so as the climate changes. As part of the street maintenance, another good thing, the budget includes battery backup systems for all major arterial intersections to provide safe right-of-way crossing at intersections when electrical power outages occur, and that's commendable. It's also an acknowledgement that electrical power outages are something to be considered when making obligations to the future. And we also need to be thinking of increasing the hours of the libraries in the future as well if we are to depend on them for respite from inclement weather and a saving grace after a disaster. Perhaps we should not solely depend on the libraries for heating and cooling centers. We also cannot depend on nonprofit homeless service providers for respite. Many of our unhoused community members cannot use these facilities because they cannot take in their belongings or other issues that they have. We have an obligation to offer low barrier shelter for those in our community who need and want it. A low barrier shelter should be included in this budget. Homeless services is included in neighborhood services budget along with animal care, code enforcement, and housing services, but homelessness is the least funded of all these services. I'm almost through. One of the belongings that prevent unhoused people from being able to go into the libraries also is a bike. The bike can be another lifeline, not only for the unhoused, but for many community members. It can also be life-ending because we need safer bike lanes in Corpus Christi, and I don't see that included in the budget. I've also, and then one more thing, there is a COLA for employees in the budget, and I'm really excited about that because our city employees deserve a raise. I'm sorry I didn't know the retired employees are not included in that, so I hope we get some funds for them. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for those comments. That's great. Just to add a few things, so our cooling centers, you're right, we use libraries, but we also use senior centers, so we do have a mix. And let me thank Laura Garcia, our library director that's here, one of our longest tenured city employees. Laura, this is, we always love coming up to your libraries. Everyone looks not exactly the same, but they look the same in that they're always clean, vibrant. There's a lot of people around, so we're fortunate to have a great team in our library department and right, yeah. And we have some great branch libraries throughout the entire city. That generator, they're pretty expensive, so the one for La Retama Library is $500,000. So it's, again, a matter of resources. We'd love to put one at every library right now, but we don't have all the financial monies available. So as long as we stay on a plan, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing it is because we do use them for warming and cooling centers through the year. So we appreciate your comments. We're going to go to the next speaker. Yes, sir.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me? Yep. Andrew Arias. I'm a local realtor in the area, and I would like to add to her comments on the bike trails. I did live in Houston downtown for a few years, and the bike trails, those green ones that were wider, definitely saved me a few times. I mean, those things are like super important when it comes to traffic, and they've managed to work well in Houston. I mean, they're actually expanding them. And I think Corpus is big enough and actually has the room to do it. I just don't know if it's in the budget. You know, I haven't read all that. That's one thing. And another thing I would like to add is if it's possible to have Bayfest again. I don't know if any of y'all remember that. I remember it as a kid. I don't know why it's not here anymore, but I think the city's growing and we're actually coming together a lot more now. And I think it'd be a lot better for the community to have Bayfest again, if that's possible, since it's downtown and all that. So that's all I got. Cool.
Yes.
About the generator at American.
Okay, true, right. Okay, thank you for that, for the comments on the bike lane. So we do have some green bike lanes today built into the sidewalks in some of our newer subdivision areas. I'm a cyclist myself, so I'm always thinking about it. So that's on our radar. As we do new bond programs, that's one of the best times to make sure we have good bike facilities. And so we hear it, the council hears it as well. On generators, we also are getting a big generator at the American Bank Center. That's the city, that's our facility at the American Bank Center. It does not have a backup generator, so we tried to use that during that extreme weather event we had a couple of years ago. We had a homeless shelter there, and we were the only city in Texas. This council was to fulfill the pledge that no homeless person would be left out in the cold during that week. And we housed over 100 homeless persons and their pets as well. But we found out at the American Bank Center when the power went out there that we couldn't use that facility, so we moved to Plan B sufficiently. But for that reason, that's a great venue to have available when there's a weather event, but we do need a generator. So those two locations will be ones that will have generators within this next year. Yeah, thank you for your comments. Ron, you had a question or comment? Yes, sir.
I know you're working on the drainage in North Beach, and we appreciate that. Do we have any idea when that might be completed? And if there's a $5 million allocation, if that's in this budget, I guess would be premature to say how it's going to be spent if we don't have the plan yet. So
right.
Maybe you can comment on it.
I can comment on it. So in the past year, the council has seen the final studies that we've done to see what is a plausible drainage solution in the middle. What we're going to be doing is the end of this month in August, we're coming back to City Council with not another report, but rather an action plan. So we have plenty of studies now over the decade that says, how do you fix drainage? The key thing for anybody that lives on North Beach or wants to get engaged in this is that it's going to take more than one drainage solution. The myth that a canal is going to solve all the drainage problems is just that, it's a myth. Because there's numerous flooding events that happen on North Beach. You have tidal flooding that happens when there's no rain because the ground's below sea level. You can have a tropical storm or a hurricane that can come over the beach and devastate North Beach. You can have a rain event that floods out the areas. And there's areas that are already built up, like the beautiful Lexington area and the aquarium. We can't go back and raise that, right? So the issue of raising is not always in every part of North Beach. So numerous drainage solutions, we're going to be bringing those to City Council at the end of this month in August. We do have $5 million that the City Council put in from our stimulus money, we call it. Councilman Lerma was real big on that, as well as Pusley and the mayor. However, Councilman Lerma challenged me now already without citizen input like this to say, $5 million is great, Peter, but find another couple of million for the adopted budget. So we're working on that. So the $5 million will begin to be put into production after the council sees this planned recommendation how to move forward on North Beach. We know that drainage is critical, but I do want to remind you all, especially you know because you live there, it's going to take several drainage solutions, and we're committed to it. Though we had a great meeting last Friday at North Beach, Councilman Lerma, myself, and a few staff just this past Friday, and we went over in greater detail the drainage. So just so everybody knows that. Yeah, thank you, Ron. Yes, sir. Yes, sir? No, go. Okay. We'll get you next, sir.
This is really to Billy Lerma. I talked to him the other day. Did you ever find out why Clarkwood Road was not completed?
No, ma'am, I haven't gotten back with Public Works on Clarkwood Road.
Is this the
They're
public?
talking about, it was brought to my attention that Clarkwood Road, because South Texas meets, Gabe, we discussed it about us paving that road and trying to divert the 18-wheelers, the cattle cattle trucks to take Clarkwood instead of going down Rand Morgan Road. And they started fixing part of it, but they never, we thought they were going to do the whole thing, and I drove by because I received the call, and we hadn't done anything else. We just fixed part of that street, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention that we need to look at that and see why we didn't finish paving it all the way through. So we can divert these trucks to go down Clarkwood and then down Leopard into South Texas Meats. If we can look into that, please.
Okay, well, Gabriel will get you the answer to, he'll get your contact information. In case anybody lives on Rand Morgan too, I know it didn't come up, but Rand Morgan that has new residential housing being built, a relatively brand new school, that's a TxDOT roadway, and what we do know is there's no sidewalks, poor accessibility. We're going to be meeting soon. We're setting up this meeting with Pusley and Lerma, the superintendent, ourselves, and TxDOT to get that solved. We should have sidewalks. We need sidewalks on that road. And we needed them a long time ago, but now with housing and the school as well. Right, both sides. No, right, both sides. So this is on our radar. Just want to point it out. It's not necessarily in our budget, but we're going to be working with TxDOT to get those facilities in. Mm-hmm. Great. This gentleman, yes, sir, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Zanoni. I agree with this lady here that to start out with the positives, and I think that watching your performance over these 4 years and the type of leaders that you've been in to bring folks in, I think it's real good for the city. I think we have a great police chief, and to see the mayor and 3 other council members who don't even, they're not this district. I'm a Calallen resident. My name is Bill Killian. Sorry about that. But I think you've done a great job, and it's been nice to watch the transition. 2 years ago, I had a wonderful permitting experience with process. I went in and was able to sit down and have a pre-meeting, a pre-planning meeting. I think that sped up a lot of things. Our company's going through different things now in Houston. There's no pre-planning meeting, and it's a nightmare, so congratulations there. The other day at the mayor's State of the City, you mentioned the industrial park. You brought up Steel Dynamics and said it's the Corpus Christi Industrial Park, which I'm sure is part of must touch our district. I would urge that maybe in the budget on those industrial districts, I'm in the solid waste business, so I could talk trash all night with you, but I think that if they're getting the benefits of the city, I think that they should be required to take solid waste to FA landfill, and that would go through contracted haulers like our company. So I think that'd be something in the budget that would generate some, revenues for the city. I think they should be required to do that. I deal with Paul and David at Solid Waste. They've been great to deal with. I do need somebody to work with in the contracting side, because we haul the solid waste at your libraries, your city hall. Our company is a contractor on that, and David their division's not in charge of that contract. It came through purchasing. It came with a clause that's somewhat draconian on potential for increases. I see the waste is going up $1.15 a home. I need to just be able to talk to somebody. I'm not getting the response from the purchasing department in regards to dealing with me on this contract in light of historic inflation and fuel pricing. And so I just need to sit down and talk to someone. I just think that in the light of y'all didn't raise the solid waste landfill fees since 2007. Last year we had an increase. It wasn't the best, but we worked through it with the solid waste team. This year they do it the right way. We got the notification of it nice and early. We can plan for it. But my point is, I entered into an agreement last year with this clause about no price increase, no rate increase, while the city was planning to raise solid waste at the landfill. So it's a little bit disingenuous, and I know it would not be the way you would want it to go down. Like, it's not really ethical, I guess, is where I shouldn't say that it's not ethical. It might have been an oversight, but I just need someone to sit down at a table with me and talk about that. So that'd be something I'd request. But I think you've done a great job, and I enjoy watching it. I moved to Corpus 12 years ago from Phoenix. So Cheryl Scully and Fairbanks and all them, I know that you were in San Antonio, so I knew you'd do a good job here, and I think you've put together a good team, and I think that we're lucky to live in such a beautiful city, and certainly is a gem of our state, as the mayor said the other day in her speech with the state of the city. I think I covered my topics. So I'm good.
Okay, good. Yeah, thank you. Is it Bill? Did you say? Yeah. Bill, yeah, thank you. Let me hit, Sony will get your contact information. He's my assistant in the city manager's office, and then we'll make sure you get the right phone calls. You're right, we're a pretty diverse organization, so David and Paul don't deal with contracts for waste removal at City Hall. Yeah, but we do appreciate your company. We do appreciate companies, small businesses, persons like yourself being here. Thank you for the kind comments as well. And by the way, we do, without seeing the contract, we know pricing is going up for diesel fuel, for labor, for tipping fees. So we know that, yes, sir. So we'll see what we can do for you. Yes, sir. Carrie, yes, ma'am. Who has the microphone? Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry, Carrie.
My name's Joanne Carr, and this may be a really stupid question for most of you, but there's a new housing development off of Mackenzie, and I wanted to know if it's the city that makes sure that there's adequate draining when new housing goes in, or if it's supposed to be the contractor, because I've lived here for 5 years, and since those houses went in, Mackenzie floods all the time, and I actually had my daughter driving and had her car hit by a 3-foot wave of water that had never been a problem before, and it frightened her, it ruined our car. And I noticed that now every time we get a heavy rain, Mackenzie is flooding. Are you talking about in front of the school? I'm talking about just up the street from the library. Oh, okay. High school has flooded for many years. You know, I'm from a different state, and they're the contractors were required to put in adequate drainage.
They are here too as well. So one of my assistant city managers, Steve Vieira, that oversees development services, will get more information from you. But the answer is yes, the city has to approve drainage plans that the developer then does.
They didn't put any more drainage in, and it's causing a real problem.
We'll take a look at it with you. Yeah.
I live off Mackenzie and Castle River, but it's actually closer to the library here that the problem is. So every time we have a heavy rainstorm, and I mean, you guys have heavy rain. I'm talking about like what we had today, the streets flood. And that's really unsafe, especially when it can come as a wall of water like that.
Okay.
Do you want to say something? Yes. So I feel your pain. I live in the Castle River subdivision and have for the past 20-something years. And I will tell you, the drainage out here was done years ago sort of haphazardly because they never expected the kind of growth that we've seen in this area. Yeah, but the problem is the main infrastructure that all of this drainage system depends on is probably 50 years old. And it all drains through Castle River subdivision out to the river through a 36-inch diameter pipe, which is so undersized it's not even funny. So we've dealt with that issue forever. So these are the kind of things that we're going to try to bring forward as we go forward with the new budget and the new bond election, is to address a number of these wastewater issues in and around this area and other areas of the city. Because this is not a unique problem to this area. If you go to Flower Bluff, they have the same issues there. Go to Padre Island, they got the same issues there. So it's a citywide issue with respect to drainage. But the problem is when they build these new subdivisions, they're basing what they need to do on a system that was outsized years ago.
Why not have the contractor that's putting in the subdivision do the improvement? That is how it is done.
Well, the contractors are responsible for part of that, and they do work with the city. I'm not saying they always do what they should do or what we would want them to do. I have been a big proponent for years that the city needs to be a little stronger in its demands toward developers with respect to not only drainage, but streets. So we're working on that.
Right. Okay, good. Steve's going to help you out before you leave. Steve Vieira, gentleman with the blue jacket back there. Carrie, you had a
Hi, yeah. Hey, my name's Carrie Meyer. I live on North Beach. I'm a member of the North Beach Community Association, and I own a small business there, a kayaking touring company called Nature Trails Kayaking. My question is about this budget in particular, the 2023. I'm curious, just because I don't know, how the different bond projects are dovetailed into this budget. Like, for example, Bond 2018 is, 3 years old or 3.5, and then it sounds like you're moving forwards with those projects, and will that be in this budget? And luckily, like Peter was saying, Billy Lerma, Councilman Lerma, scheduled a meeting with some of the board of directors from our group earlier this week, and they answered a lot of our questions. But now that we're talking about Bond 2023, that's my question about that. And then also like about the Eco Park, which is on Bond 2023, not Bond 2018, but Bond 2023. Say if that gets approved in November, like when would you think that those projects, that the Eco Park project would get done, what the timeline would be for that design? And also, after it's designed, when are you envisioning that construction would start on the Eco Park? Where will you find that funding? How will you, I know it just doesn't grow on trees, so I'm trying to figure out what the big long-term plan is for that, and also on the 2018, how you're going to fold that into the 2023 budget, if it's even a line item or not.
Right, yeah, so Carrie's questions is pretty specific to North Beach, but there's 3 projects still in the 2018 bond program that are on North Beach that still haven't been done. Somewhat, there was a delay in the initial few years because of the bridge, but in working with the council members that represented Pusley and Lerma, we are moving forward with those 2018 projects. That's what we agreed to the other night at the North Beach meeting with their neighborhood association leadership. So one project is no longer a viable one. There was monies that were going to be used to do a sweeping curve, but in the final design that TxDOT has, that eliminates that option. So those dollars will be distributed on the 2 other remaining viable projects, Beach Avenue, and what was the other one, Carrie? Gulf Breeze, Gulf Spray. Okay, Gulf Spray. So those are independent of anything else. We can do those right now. In fact, that's what we're doing. Jeff Edmonds, who was with us on Friday night, is here with us on Monday night. And he knows to move forward with the design and the construction of those 2 roads. So Beach is the primary one, and then Gulf Spray will be the secondary one. We know that Beach is the more heavily used one, so that'll be the bigger focus in terms of allocating those dollars from that sweeping curve project. So those are moving forward. You have our commitment. Yeah, we have a rough timeline. So we have the design firms already picked, so we don't have to go through that process. So they'll design the roads, those 2 roads, and then construction. The design's probably what, Jeff? How many months for the design? Mid-next year, under construction mid-next year, so that's pretty decent. The money's there, and the plan is there now, and that'll take care of those. So that's a good example, though. That's the old way of doing business. We're still talking 2018. In the 2020 bond program, all those projects, every one of them is in design, and half of them are under construction or will be by this November. That's tremendous, and we're still working on 2018 projects. Right, Surfside Park was something Carrie asked for. You saw pictures in the video. A brand new restroom, a brand new parking lot, and a brand new park for families. And this budget adds more dollars to what was in the bond program. What was in the bond program wasn't enough to bring it to completion, so we added more money, over $2 million more in this budget to address that park. So that's tremendous. So the 2022 bond program goes out to vote this November. We know the Eco Park is in there. Councilman Pusley and you, Carrie, have worked on it for over a decade, right, Councilman Pusley? So there's already some. That's what he told me. He said, I really need to be going to this before I get old. Yes, so there's $100,000 in that bond program. We already have a conceptual design from the federal government. We got a grant from the National Park Service, and so that's there to help us. So the $100,000 will help to finalize the design. The good thing about that, Carrie, is it's shovel ready now for monies maybe in the 2024 budget, or Yes, well, we need you there to vote on it. And then 2024, if we can't get it in the 2024 budget, then we'll put it in the 2024 bond. So it's steady progress. That's how we're addressing, Bill, the question of how do we move forward. We can't reverse decades of neglect in 1 year or 2 years. It's taking time. But as long as we have a plan and a council that's committed, we're making great progress. We're working great as a team. And Carrie, thank you for being part of that as well.
Just to clarify, I want to make sure I understood. You're hoping to do the Eco Park design in 2023?
Yeah, well, that'll be a quick one to get out the gate. Yeah, put it this way, Carrie. The 2022 bond program was approved in November. By May, every project had a design firm selected by City Council. We did a different business process. Is that right, Michael? Where's Michael at? Yeah, that's right, right? Yeah, so the bond was approved in 2020, November of 2020. By May of 2021, less than 5 months, every project had a design firm awarded to it. Tremendous. That never happened before. Yeah, right. Yeah. So if we follow that same process, which we are, within 5 months of November, by May of next year, your Eco Park will be in design. Okay, great. So just being mindful of the schedule. We know we have kids going back to school and that type of thing. We have one more question, and then we'll call it a night.
Yes, I have a couple, just a couple simple questions.
Yes, sir.
Number one, you mentioned the bond of 2018. I forgot to mention it in our meeting at North Beach. But I was at the Rotary about a month ago, and Miss Allison, who promotes the new Harbor Bridge, she takes photographs and videos of the construction where you can see the progress. And so she made the comment that the people at North Beach weren't very happy because we only got one exit. It's going to be coming north and south. At the end, I was able to stand up, and I gave her my name, and I said, well, I live at North Beach, and everybody just cracked up. Anyway, we talked at great length about Beach Avenue and all, and she said that you could widen that street or new sidewalks, whatever, that the lane will she promised me that the traffic that comes off the new bridge is responsible of TxDOT to get you off the bridge, but it's going to run into that Beach Avenue, that you could go ahead and do whatever the bond says that you can do. And so anyway, it sounds like you're going to be working on that. The other item that I did mention, and I only mention it again because the fire chief is here, is that we'd like to have a fire station on North Beach, because when the new bridge is built, I call 911, the fire truck's got to come from either Leopard or Morgan. Right now, if I call 911 and I'm at North Beach, when I hang up the phone, I can hear the siren, okay? And I've been with North Beach now for 35 years, okay? And also when we had the big freeze in 2020 in February, the bridge was closed. We had no water, no electricity. You couldn't go to Portland. Well, then if there was a fire station there, if there was some sort of emergency, there'd be somebody there to take care of the citizens. And the last thing I would like to say is I'm very blessed that you have the finest fire department and police department in the country. I'm a graduate of the 39th Citizen Police Academy, class number 39. You get to be a fireman, I get to be a policeman for 12 weeks and go ride with the police car and all. And I'm also a graduate of the Citizens Fire Academy. And I mean, I tell you what, when you go through those classes, when you see a fire truck going down the road or an ambulance, you don't take for granted what they do. The work that they do for this great city, and that's the same for the police department.
Yeah,
so
we
we're
agree
blessed.
with you totally, yes. Yeah, thank you. Okay, well, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for coming out tonight. We appreciated your comments. Everything's been documented, and we'll go through the next 4 council districts, and then at the end of it, we'll show City Council what the consensus of the Corpus Christi residents are saying. We want to thank the mayor and the council members for coming out. Somebody already recognized it. This is tremendous engagement from our elected officials. We know they care, but when we see them here like this, we really know they care, and they do care. So we want to thank them. Right. So we have a few more weeks, so keep following us. You can go to any one of the remaining 4 district meetings. You don't have to live in that district. Come to City Hall too at our council meeting. There's a few public hearings on the tax rate and the budget as well. And follow us online, more information to come. We want to encourage you to be careful going home and be careful on how we use our water. We are in a drought. Thank you.